So may I just have a quick introduction about the presenters and the providers portal team. My name is Thanassis Mantes. I'm from ATHENA RC, responsible for team management and coordination, together with Aggeliki Gkamiliari. And today we'll have Antonis Lempesis, who's head of the development team, and Zouros, who is responsible from the backend part of the providers portal and the API, to walk us through how we can use the API for onboarding providers and resources to the providers portal. So I don't know if anyone else from the presenters want to say something about the introduction. We can jump right into a presentation regarding the API and functionality offered, and then we can move on to the hands-on use of the API and any issues that can occur around this. Antonis, would you like to say something, or anyone else from the team, Aggeliki or Michalis, or we just start the presentation? Antonis, can you hear us?
Yes. Okay. Since no one else wants to say something, I'm trying to share my screen. I cannot share my screen. Host disable participant screen sharing. So
you should be able to do so now.
yes, I am. Okay, I'm sharing everything. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes,
we can.
Okay, hello from me as well. I'm Antonis Lempesis, the head of development of the EOSC Portal and its APIs. Today I'm going to describe how you can use the API to interact with the EOSC Portal, and how to register providers and services in the portal, in the EOSC Catalog. There are two main ways to register your services and data sources, which is the latest development in the EOSC Portal. First of all, is through the EOSC Catalog. As individual providers, you have to onboard a new provider and a sample resource service to the portal. And after they are approved by the EPOT team, perhaps through some discussions, a few back and forth to fix stuff, to correct mistakes and fill in missing fields, etc., then you are ready to register the rest of your services and resources to the portal. In order to do this, you have to issue a new API token from the AAI, and then you directly use the API to register the resources. The second venue is through a catalog. Since a few months ago, we support the onboarding of entire catalogs of services and providers. So the process is similar, but with a key difference that you have to register a catalog instead of a provider. And after this catalog is approved, and this is a much longer process than simply approving a provider, again, you get a token. And after getting the token, you are able to onboard your entire catalog of services and providers directly in the EOSC Portal. Excuse me. I'm sorry for this. The season is risky. So you have to why you have to do this? Why you have to register a provider or a catalog first, and then you are able to register your resources? Because this is the first test and the first verification that you are in quotes, serious about this process. You have understood the data model that we use. You have understood every detail, and that's why you also have to register a sample, the first resource. So the EPO team can guide you, can make sure that everything is correct, everything is okay, and then you're ready to use the portal, either through the API or the portal, the web interface. For Catalog, it's a bit more, it takes more time because after your catalog is approved, then there is no verification needed. Everything is automatically ingested in the portal. So the EPO team must make sure that your catalog is 100% compliant with the EOSC guidelines and the EOSC schema. So how to get an API token? You use the AAI. You log in the AAI. Here is the link. I don't know if you can see my mouse. I'll show you the demo later. You use the API where you can issue an access token. This is valid. This access token is valid for 1 hour, and then you can also issue a refresh token, which is used to produce a new access token. The refresh token is valid for 12 months, so you can use it in your scripts. Generally, the token is used when you want to update or insert new data in the catalog. When you need to read data to the get methods, you don't need the token with a small asterisk. There are times where the personal information is hidden from the responses when the user is not authenticated. So a get method will return the resource description fine without a token, but with a bit limited information. So you also need the token there in order to get the full info. So here are some examples of how to use the token. We'll see it in the demo later, so I'm not staying for long in this part. In essence, you add it in as a header right here, and then you call the API. Here is another script that is used to generate a new access token from the refresh token. And again, you can here's the link to manage your access and refresh tokens. So the API methods. First of all, we use SSL. You have to use HTTPS in front of the URLs, not HTTP. The public API base URL is api.eosportal.eu, and then you add the method you are trying to call. For example, API/resource/all returns all the resources of the catalog. This example is a bit old. It says, I don't know if you can see this number, it's 273. Right now we have close to 1,000, so it may take a bit to load. Again, so this is a REST API. We've tried to be as close to the REST methodology and the REST principles as possible. So you have get methods to get information from the portal, to get the details about resources, about providers. You have the post methods, excuse me, to post, to create new resources in the catalog, and the put methods which are used to update information. We have at least 2 controllers. Actually, we have more than 2 controllers. One is provider for providers, one is for resources, and there are also other controllers for extra information about resources, controllers about data sources, controllers about catalogs, etc., etc. We have Swagger API. I'll show you a demo of this later. All the methods are detailed. We have description about the methods. You can test the methods using either XML or JSON. We support both. The official format of the EOSC portal is XML with an XSD schema, which we provide. But we also support the JSON format of metadata in JSON format. So, excuse me. So this is a list of the methods for each of the controllers. I will go very fast because there is no need to look at them in detail now. You can get all the providers, you can get all the services of a provider, you can get details of a provider, and then you can also update the provider or ask to get to validate the information about the provider. For the resources, you can create a new resource, you can update a resource, again, you can validate a resource, and then we have the get methods. You can get one resource, you can get all of the resources, you can search for resources, or you can get all the resources by ID. Actually, more than one resources, you can supply a list of IDs. And also have the service extension controller, which are extra functionality on services. We add extra functionality frequently, so you can get information. So you can create a new help desk information. You can get or update and get information about help desk monitoring. Excuse me, and you can also delete information. More or less, I think that's it. One other controller that is of interest is the vocabulary controller. You can use it to browse only. You cannot update the vocabularies in EOSC through the API. These are managed internally by the project. But you can get the vocabularies that you can use by type with the vocabulary IDs. For example, you can get the list of countries you have, or you can get details of a country or an entity like European Union. The endpoints are here. We have the documentation, the Swagger API in providers to the portal / open API. And we have three environments. One is the production, the sandbox, which is a replica of the production. A replica it runs the exact same code and functionality as the production, and you can use it as a playground. And we have the beta, which is more up to date than production. You can play with it to test the new functionality, and of course, changes in both sandbox and beta do not affect the production. So I'm stopping the demo here, not the demo, sorry, the presentation here. If you have any questions, unless, or you can go to a brief demo. And yes, the slides will be shared. Thanassis will make sure of it.
Hi, this is Maggie Hellström from ICOS. I just have a quick question regarding the usage up to now of this API. I missed a few minutes in the beginning, so maybe you already covered this. How many people are sort of using the API rather than the web interface to interact with the catalog?
We don't have many users of the API. We are proud of our user interface and the web forms, which are pretty easy to use. But in the past, before we introduced the catalog notion, external projects like Nifos, like OpenAir, and at least another one which I forgot right now, we're using the API to synchronize the catalogs with EOSC. They still do, but through the catalog API, not the provider's API. So we have at least 3 or 4 users, 3 or 4 project users, and yes, Zeant is the other project that's also using the API.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Ilya.
Question, hi. How do you handle the conflicts between the entries in the catalogs, or maybe plans for handling the conflicts? So same entries entered through different catalogs.
This is a work in progress. Okay, a bit of background. Perhaps I should have a small slide about it, a small schema to describe how the catalog, the EOSC portal is organized, the data. What I'm presenting now is the API for the lower level of our catalog of the portal. where each catalog, and EOS catalog is one of them, is in a separate space, on its different space. So if you register a service in the EOS catalog, and then you register one through the Zeand catalog in the Zeand catalog, then you have two different resources which are distinct. They're considered two different resources. We do nothing to deduplicate them. After that, we have the top layer, which is the public API we use, and in the open API, in the link, you have the link. You'll see it's the public controller. We copy all the resources from the bottom layer to the top, to the public layer. Right now, as it is right now, again, we don't differentiate. It's two different resources. In the coming months, we plan to, first of all, assign PIDs in every resource that does not have one. And second, we plan to implement the duplication, where the EPO team, or I'm not sure who will be the unlucky one, will try to identify that two services are the same, mark them as such, and we will only display one in the catalog. We're still, Jonathan, yes. So we're not sure about the details of the duplication yet, but in a few months, the same service from different providers will appear only once in the catalog.
So can you, like, is it something on the concrete development plan? I mean, few months means less than a year? Or?
If you ask Thanassis, it's in a couple of months. I would love to be so optimistic, but it's, yes, it's few months. It's less than a year. It's actually before summer for sure.
Okay, thank you.
So should we aim before the end of EOSC Future? I'm Catalin Condurache, the coordinator of EPOT.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
So should we aim this work on progress to finalize by the end of EOSC Future project?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mark.
Good. Good morning. How are you? I work for Giant, and we update our providers on an individual basis, which you have on the EOS Catalogue, and that's been working for over a year now. But in the last few months, we've been having more and more issues and being rejected from the EOS end. And I know you've been working on it. I just wondered how stable it is at the moment, because we stopped trying to fix the interface because well, we wasn't changing things. And one day it was working on, and next day it wasn't working. So we were giving yourself time to get things stable. Is it now worth restarting that work again to make sure all our services can be updated?
Keep in mind that Zeand used to be just a provider in the old version of the portal. Now Zeand is a catalog, or should be a catalog. The API should be stable. I'm sorry, I'm interrupted and corrected right now. But
That's fine,
the API should be stable now. It's been live for a few months now. We have sorted out many bugs. So yes, give it a try.
That's the answer I wanted to hear. Thank you very much.
And contact us even before trying. Give us a call, and we can discuss the API and prevent any mistakes before happening.
That's great. Thank you.
Are there any other questions regarding this part? Or should we, I think Antonis covered also the features that are about to come in the providers portal and in the API section. But if there are no more questions, then we can proceed with some hands-on demos and any questions regarding actual use of the API. So no more questions. And Antonis, I think you can move forward with the demos.
Okay. So in order to register, to use the API, first our provider must be registered in the portal. There is no API for this. You have to go through the user interface. Am I still logged in? Let me see. No, I'm not. So you have to log in to the portal so that you can agree to the privacy policy and also verify that you are the authorized representative of the resource provider. After you do this, you start the registration process. It's a bit long. It's a bit long, so I'll start typing the name of the provider. It needs a valid URL, so I skip all the non-mandatory fields. And you can see on the left here the progress bar. So for this part, we are done. We need a description. Provider. We need a logo, a random image. And then we go to location, street number, city, Athens, and we need the country. It's in Afghanistan. Nice place. These are pre-filled by my account details. I can change them, of course, but no need to. There is only one thing missing for the public contact. And everything is complete. So I submit it. And as you can see, I'm redirected to the list of my providers, where my ANT provider is pending. I can do nothing right now. I'm waiting for the EPO team, which should respond shortly, to approve this provider. It's still pending. And now it's approved. So I have to go and add my first resource, which will be a service. The organization is the provider I submitted earlier. The web page again is, I'm sorry, but it's a lot of details. Okay, I'm done. Classification, the scientific domain is humanities, the subdomain is philosophy, of course. Categorization, compute, subcategory, job execution. Target users are innovators. Availability, it's worldwide. Language availability, Bengali is nice. Okay. Okay. Of course, it's the RL9, and it's fully open access because we support open access, and we submit. Okay, and back to my provider page, I can see the statistics. There's only one service. There are a few charts which are, of course, empty right now because the service is brand new. And I'm waiting for the issues to be approved. And it is approved. So now I can use the API to post any new services that I want. The first step is to go to the AI site. It's in the link is in the presentation. You'll get it and get a new token. And after I get a new token, I can use the API to get to play with my data and add new information. So first example, let's have a look at the provider information. Paste. Copy the token and ask for the provider with ID and the one that we just created. So here is the XML of the provider I added. Minimal information, you can add more, but this is the reply of the API. So if you need to add a new, you can update the provider. You can create a new service. Let me copy. It's not gonna work this way. I'm sorry. And this should work. And the service is registered. You get back a response with the metadata of the service. And if we go to the portal, not here, how do I hide this? I can see two services, and the second service, test service 2, is already approved because my first service was approved by the EPO team. There are other methods. You can get information about the service. You can update the service. Everything is here in the Google Doc. I don't know if there is any, if we need to go right now over all of them, but we can share this Google Doc with examples so that you can use it yourselves. Thanassis, what do you think? Should we go over each method and test it?
I don't know. Does anyone have any questions regarding or issues that faced in the past regarding these API calls?
Yes, sorry, it's me again. We had not an issue in a sense, but the fact that the token lasts such a short time, where we have an application which we have different users updating, and we have to use the refresh token, which lasts for a year, rather than the access token and regenerate an access token every time. I'm sure you're not going to change that for various reasons, but we did find that a bit of a pain, I'll be honest with you.
Okay, it's not our decision to keep the access token so short-lived. It's for security reasons by the AAI group. But you can use the refresh token, which lasts for 12 months. And there is a small script here in that web page. You can use this script to generate a new access token automatically whenever you need it.
Yeah, that's what we had to do, yeah.
That's what we also had to do for the open air to EOSC synchronization. It was the only way to do it, unfortunately.
Should we proceed with other API calls? Antonis, I believe we have some time for this, so if you want to do so.
Before we go on, there is a question by Davide. Will you also show how to import multiple services? There is no special way to import multiple services, multiple calls to the API with the metadata each time. Okay, and there's no, this about the contacts, it's not about the API. I'm sure that someone else is more able to answer more about the contacts and the
usually about the question posted in the chat by Nick. I think that if that person leaves, it must be, I mean, the responsibility for maintaining those resources must be transferred to another person by making that person an admin of the provider and resources. Catalin can provide more details about this procedure.
I'm preparing a short text to put in the chat for Nick.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Catalin.
But is that Davide asking how to import multiple services? Did you cover?
Yes, the answer is you call the API multiple times.
Okay.
So another example is this. This is also, let me zoom in a little so you can see better the call, the API call. This is the URL of the service I registered just now. The ID of the service is the ID of the provider dot the ID of the service. And the ID of the service of the provider is created automatically using the name of the provider or the name of the service. This is what we have currently. When we introduce PIDs, of course, these IDs will remain somewhere hidden in the metadata, but we'll use B2Handle to generate proper persistent identifiers and hopefully much prettier than these ones, than this one, for example. So if I want to get the details of a service, again, I call the get method to the API, asking for the service with ID this one. And let me print it. XML startlet. And here is the metadata of the service. Again, this is in XML, conforming to the XSD of the EOSC schema. You can also ask for it in JSON. This is not standard. This is, I'm sorry, I cannot print it in XML. You can get the information back again in JSON. This is not officially supported, but generally, whenever you can use XML in the API, you can also use JSON. It's up to you to decide which one to use. The API accepts both. What we don't have is an access is a JSON schema for the resources and providers, and this is now to provide next to the XSD. Thanassis, I think there is no use in me copying pasting commands in the terminal. Since there is a hands-on session, I think it's better to let people try it and report any errors than me just showing stuff from a Google Doc.
Yes, when we were preparing this session, Catalin informed me that there were some participants asked for some issues they faced when using the API to be resolved. So if anyone has anything that can be tested here on a hands-on example, we can move forward with this. And of course, if there are any other questions, please shoot right now.
So anyway, we try to respond to any bug reports, any questions as soon as possible, but our numbers are few, and Thanassis is asking for more stuff every day. So we are split between fixing bugs and introducing new functionality. But our focus is always the bug fixing and then introducing new stuff. So even if we're not able to solve anything today, we'll do it in the next days.
Okay, I see that Ilya has a hand raised, so go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So you mentioned here put method, but what about patch method? One problem we had was that if the data model changed, it was not basically possible to adjust a certain field without adjusting everything else. So do you sort of expect the full data set to be present at all times, or it will be possible to adjust only certain fields?
No, we don't. We haven't considered the patch method or any such functionality. And either way, when the model changes, so far at least, we update all the data to the new model and then release a new version. But
I think that's not entirely true, right? I mean, the issues that we had with tags and everything, that was...
Yes, we try to, especially for new fields or new elements, we cannot guess the data. But whenever the format changes or anything that we can handle, we do it ourselves and then ask for support. But no patch method for now.
Okay, thanks.
So does anyone have something that we can go on and have a test on it? there are some questions in the chat, so
what is this? That.
Antonis, did you see the question?
I'm trying to, yeah. It's supposed to be a REST API. Of course, we deviate. It's not easy to follow it all the time. And we have in the back of our minds, but it's difficult to do at this point, but in the back of our minds, we have to redesign the whole API. Since we had many additions in the past years, and it's grown a lot larger. But even if we do this, you have prior notice of months. This is a huge change.
I have another question. My name is Kurt Baumann. I'm working at Switch. Can I ask you this question here?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry for that. I was jumping in later on, and so probably I've missed something from the introduction. But what is your? You said that the XML format would be the standard, if I understand it correctly. I saw the last 5 minutes. I'm sorry for that. Do you have some issues in parsing this large, if you have large XML files? So do you need to convert in smaller ones, or how is the mechanism there?
No, the official format of format we use is XML, and we have an XSD for this.
Yes.
We also support JSON through. Actually, it's a bonus of the libraries we use, of the software libraries we use that automatically transform JSON to XML, actually to Java and back and forth. Regarding the size issue, we never had any size issues. Either way, you cannot post or put many resources at once. You have to put them individually, one after the other. And the resources, the results we return, again, we had no issues. We have returned huge XMLs with hundreds of resources. It works in our part fine.
Okay. So no issues with the format?
No issues. No issues.
Okay. Thank you.
And we selected XML because even today, the XSD is much more standard and widely known than a JSON schema. We prefer to work with JSON. It's lighter, it's easier to read, but the XML is more prevalent.
I see no raised hands, and since I see no more questions in the chat, shall we proceed in the part 3 hands-on?
So I'll share this Google Doc. Let me see how to do this. Mihaly, thank you. You can comment. Mihaly, can you share this? Actually, I don't want to edit anymore, so it's okay. This is the Google Doc with the API calls you can use. On top of this, on the top of this document, you can see the portal, the API link, and the portal to issue new tokens. It will get you to this page. So remember, in short, the process again is you log into the portal, you register a new provider after accepting the terms and the privacy policies. After this provider is approved, we will be monitoring pending providers all the time. Then you can start registering services, and you can register a new service, the first service, which must also be approved by the APO team. You can register either through the portal or using the API. And after the first service is approved, then you can use the API to register any service you want. So here is also a link to the sandbox portal. And I think that's it.
Are there any questions, any comments about the presentation of Antonis?
If I may, this is a slightly different topic, but do you have any, like there is the statistics support in the portal. So it would be nice to understand if we could have some APIs for getting the reporting information, like statistical reporting information about the, in particular, catalog entries from provider portal. Is this something that we can, but I noticed that the statistics page has been broken for quite a while. Is it something that we should not be relying upon and just do it ourselves, or is there a chance that this will be fixed and available through APIs? Like we want to see, I don't know, geographical distribution of the providers and services.
Thank you, Ilya.
Hello.
Antonis?
Hi, Ilya. Hi, Aggeliki, Stefania here. The statistics in each provider dashboard, we get those information from Marketplace, which is visits, etc. Statistics about the distribution of the providers and of the services are under the statistics menu. I don't know if anyone can share the screen. Antonis, perhaps can you share again? If you go to production, because it's the statistics, we do not need to go to sandbox. Okay, you don't need to log in. If you see the statistics menu next to 4 providers there, we have provider statistics, general onboarded by month, distribution for legal status, life cycle, network, area of activity, etc. If you scroll up,
no, that part works. But if you go for the statistics for resources,
okay.
This is what we're interested in mostly.
Okay.
This has been down, and from the network tab, you see that the API calls are failing.
Okay, we'll take a look. I guess perhaps if you remember when this had an issue, but perhaps it's when we introduced the data sources. Perhaps we need to.
No, it was not working thing before that.
Okay, we'll take a look and we'll have it up and running again.
Okay, because yes, it would be nice to have a bit more, like, it would be nice to get sort of back the information about what we push to some extent.
Yes, so we'll make this page work as well, but if you think of more statistics that you would like us to add or that are of interest to you, I think what we have now is a distribution based on the vocabularies that we're using, and then onboarding information per month, etc. So if you think of something else that we could track, let us know.
The origin of the country origin of the resource, the statistical distribution of that was the one metric that we sort of constantly follow.
Okay, I think this should be available once we're up and running for the resources as well.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any more questions? I see no raised hands or questions in the chat. So should we proceed with hands-on, more hands-on? Are there any specific questions about difficulties you faced?
Hi, it's Nick Duty, University of Manchester. I think we tried to onboard some resources a while ago. We had problems registering because it was difficult to fill in the bit about the legal entity. I didn't look at the form now. I don't know if it's any easier, because these things take a bit of, they're a bit complicated for approval. I don't know if anyone else had issues like this.
So you are still pending for approval?
No, I think we did register something, because, for example, Fair Sharing registered as e-science research or something as part of University of Oxford, and I think it was a bit more complicated for us. I can't actually remember all the full details, but I remember it was a bit of a blocker for us, because to put ourselves down as a legal entity is a bit odd.
So Nick, are you actually suggesting that we as an end user should be allowed to possibly add to the drop-down lists or not?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like I say, I haven't looked at it again recently. I'll have a look later on, but might need some tweaking.
I think APOD members are best to answer that question, but after the last model update, after model 4.0, in the list of hosting legal entities, we only add providers that are onboarded in EOSC and are approved by an EPOT member. Perhaps Catalin can say more about that.
Yes, this is true. So in last summer, when we moved to profile 4.0, we moved to a control vocabulary for hosting legal entities, which is made out of providers with a legal status. Other providers which cannot claim legal status are required to make use of a hosting legal entity, and there is a small explanation under that field. And at that time in summer, because we have to move to this new profile, about how many, 20 plus, between 20 and 25 such providers were sort of given a life, like we move them on with to the new profile, but we put a flag there that they are not complying with this legal status. Currently, we started the campaign a bit late to move them, to make them correct. I'm not sure if this is the case what Nikki raised, but yes, we want to be sort of stricter in terms of a legal status of any provider in EOSC portal onboarded here for some sort of not liability but responsibility regarding the resources they are onboarding. Is this, Nikki, what you were discussing?
Yeah. So has that changed now a little bit then? Because I think the last time, I think we did onboard something. I think maybe Workflow Hub or something like that. So that interface has changed. The drop-down has changed in the last.
Yes. So at the moment, it's not a free text. It's a list of existing providers with the legal status. So if you don't find something, but if you get to this situation to use an HLE, we required a formal approval from that institution to act as an HLE for you. We do not request any proven document, but just your confirmation that yes, we discussed with them and they are happy to act as HLE for us. But it has to be from that drop-down list. It's no longer a free text. Yeah, this was a big move last summer. No free text, but
Okay, thanks.
If there are no more API related questions, since we have here most members of the dev team, we could ask more general questions, blockers or issues that have occurred.
Indeed, you may want to ask questions related to the onboarding via the web portal, because the same people, also myself, we can help, and it's a very good opportunity to ask and receive questions, answers. May I ask, because we started to introduce onboarding data sources and research products, is there activity to expand the APIs to this type of resources?
There is already an API for data sources. You can see it in the Swagger API, the Open API. Michael shared the link in the chat earlier. Regarding the research products, these are not registered through the provider's portal. They come directly from the OpenAir graph.
Correct. Indeed. Yes. So Davide asked, can you give us a contact to refer to in case we need to import hundreds of services? Well, the public face is the onboarding at EOSC-portal.eu mailing list, but also is the EOSC help desk, where one can raise an issue and either knows to what support unit to assign the ticket. Otherwise, there is a group of people which are triaging the tickets, and they assign the tickets to their best knowledge. But at the end, the ticket will get in attention of the right group of people. So, David, I believe this was what you expected as an answer. Yeah, so Thanassis, or which group in EOSC help desk is appropriate for API issues? Still portal? If I have a look.
Thanassis is on the phone right now for a second. I assume you should address to the portal or onboarding team about the API issue.
Yeah.
I have a quick question, if that's okay. Going forward, over the next 6 to 12 months, do you have plans for any major releases? For instance, we went to version 4 of the model in June last year. Is there anything else we need to start planning for ourselves, or is it going to be quite small stuff this year coming out?
One major thing that you need to be aware of is, I think by the end of March or starting the beginning of April, and we have sent an email to all contacts of the providers, the two fields, the privacy policy and the terms of use fields, will become mandatory. The input members have done a workshop, I think, with data protection officer from ATHENA Research Center to help providers see how they can create such documents. But one thing that you need to be aware of is this: these two fields will become mandatory, so you will need to have them updated by then.
That's great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, things like that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Are there any more questions or issues? If we don't have any more questions or issues to report, we could finish our meeting 20 minutes earlier and send you all the presentations shown in this meeting.
So where will be these slides hosted? In what, how we can reach to them? Andreas, are you going to put them somewhere in the web page where this event has been advertised?
Precisely. So our usual procedure is to host both a link to the video recording. This session has been recorded and will be made available after the fact. And we will also upload the presentations and contents of our workshop hosts, should they choose to share it with us. Those will be available as resources on the EOS Future website, findable with the link that you used to find the event in the first place. I see that there's a question from Venkat, yes.
Hi, everyone. Not so much a question as a comment. Yes, Venkat here from EOS Future Work Package 9. So the other thing to keep in mind is this and other training sessions we're going to be developing into self-paced learning content, which will be eventually made available on the new EOSC Knowledge Hub, which is essentially a Moodle platform. What you've done here, it's not exactly what you'll find there, but we will develop it into some kind of self-paced training content as well. Thank you.
And also thank you to all of you hosts and participants for joining us this morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. I hope that you found the contents of this training module useful, and I look forward to seeing many of you either at further EOS Future events or at further online workshops. Wishing you a lovely continuation to your day. Stay safe, stay sane, and see you soon.
Thank you all very much.
Great, thank you. Bye now.
Thank you for being here.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.